what I wanted to do was start a kind of a new series of videos, kind of the story behind the photograph, a kind of how-to for individual photographs that I've taken that you might find useful when you want to take similar photos. So the first one I'd like to start off with is this telephoto capture of a sunset at Leon Solent, which is the rather catchy title of this one. I've kind of, when I first started off doing photography, a lot of the time I would do kind of artsy, kind of emotional titles, like Sky on Fire, or what was another one? Nuclear Sun, things like that. But I kind of moved away from that more towards kind of really plain descriptive titles, so, view west from beach towards Portsmouth, that kind of thing. So anyway, but I really like this photo, and it's one of my most viewed photos on Flickr, if that makes any sense at all. It's got over 13,000 views. And although I know sunsets can be a bit of a cliche, it is one of my favourite photos too, because I think it's quite an interesting looking subject. But also because I have this emotional attachment to the photo, because it's kind of like the culmination of dozens and dozens, if not maybe even hundreds of trips down to the coast to try and capture a kind of a different, interesting looking sunset. And I finally got one that, I like it quite a lot. But anyway, this video is meant to kind of be the story behind that photo, to help, maybe you taking similar photos, or probably, even better ones. So to start off with, let's get the technical stuff out of the way. I took this photo with my old Canon 350D DSLR, still going strong, but I use the 600D T3i now. 350D is the Rebel XT, it's also called. 8 megapixels, a perfectly usable stills camera still. And it was on a tripod with the 55 to 250 IS. Now I put it on the tripod because I want nice and steady exposures. Also, using a tripod slows you down a bit and means that you can really concentrate on the composition. But also, when you're in a situation like at a sunset where you're waiting for things to happen, you're waiting for the colours to appear. You don't want to be standing there, with your camera forever. You want to put your camera on tripod. You want to have a really good look round so you can see different things. And I had the 55 to 250 on there, sort of telephoto lens, because I wanted to zoom in on the horizon to get that cropped look, to get that to really bring out the colours of what was happening. Although I didn't know what was going to happen in advance. I shot it at f11, so nice. And the idea, one of the challenges again of doing sunsets is you want the distance to be in focus, and sharp, but you might have some stuff in the foreground as well. Now in this particular photo there isn't really any foreground, it's all the sky with that little tree at the bottom, but but I went for f11. I went 1/400th of a second, so there won't be any there won't be any camera shake anyway because the camera's on a tripod, but there won't be any sort of subject blur as well in the distance. Probably, if there was any birds coming across and I was at ISO 200, maybe if I'd done at ISO 200 there'd be a little bit of noise, and I'm at 250mm, so I'm zoomed right in on the horizon. Now be very careful when you're using your telephoto lens like this to do sunsets. So you don't want to be looking down the lens directly into the sun, only if clouds are in the way and the sun's really, really, really dim. Post-processing, I cropped it in a little bit, whacked up the contrast a little bit, and put a little bit more saturation, a little more detail. Didn't really have to do too much, because the reason why the colours look so great in this particular photo is that, as with many really interesting photos taken with sunsets, it was taken after the sun had gone down. In fact, the sun had just gone down right below the horizon, just behind that tree, and that's why you kind of see that red effect. And what you find when you're out taking photos with the sun going down, it's really easy to kind of watch the sun coming down. Maybe it goes behind some clouds, maybe you get some really orange or pinky looking sun. Fantastic. You take the photo and the sun goes, and you pack up all your gear, and you go home. Because, the foreground's gone dark, it's getting dark, maybe you're getting a bit cold, maybe the wind's starting to come in. But trust me, when you're out taking sunsets, wait, because often the real fun starts, the real different photos start when the sun's gone, because that's when the colours start to really change and you start to move away from the yellows and the oranges into the deeper colours, like the deeper reds and the blues and the purples. In fact, this photo here that I'll put in, again, is another really great, good favourite photo of mine that you should see now on the screen, that was taken with a lens baby down at Leon Solent, same sort of place, where the sky just went mental with loads of different colours. That's probably another one of my favourite sunset photos. So anyway, the lesson is, don't go home, wait until at least 20 minutes after the sun has gone down, because often the sky can be pretty boring, and you think, oh, it's all over. Then all of a sudden, 10 minutes later, because of the way the light is reflecting and bending off the clouds and things, the colours, come to life. And again, I like it as well because it's a pretty tight crop, and I think when you zoom in on sunsets and cloud formations and all these different colours, they take on almost an otherworldly look. You could be looking at the surface of Jupiter, or a different planet, or the Aurora Borealis, whatever it is, up north. Now, wide-angle sunset shots are fine, but they can be a little bit boring, can't they? Well, not boring. We've seen them all before. And I think, and again, the final part why the photo works is what I said at the beginning, is the fact that it was a culmination of many, many trips to the coast, to Leon Solent, to take shots of sunsets, to finally arrive at something that I really, really like. And that involves finding out when the sunset is going to be on my phone, or you can check it on the computer, jumping in the car, going down there, setting up, waiting. Lots of times it going grey, starting to rain, nothing. And then on the odd occasion, you might get a fantastic sunset. And we are quite lucky down here on the south coast of the UK, and you do get really, really nice sunsets every now and again. You've just got to be persistent. Play the game of photographer's luck. Go down there again and again and again, and take those photos. So, it was a little bit of luck and a lot of perseverance. Anyway, that's enough from me. Hopefully, I've given you some good ideas how to take more interesting sunset shots, probably more interesting than the one I've taken. And I'll see you again soon.